It is 6 minutes after 7 o'clock here on this Wednesday morning, 43 degrees, partly cloudy. It feels like 34 outside, and it is breezy. South winds at 20 to 30 miles per hour to start this Wednesday.
Local information that makes a difference. Here's your regional weather.
Well, it's only going to get crazier. A wind advisory goes into effect at 8 o'clock this morning, lasting until 6 p.m. this evening. We'll talk about those winds throughout the course of the day today as well and through the morning hours. Then we've got a winter storm watch that goes into effect tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., lasting until 6 p.m. tomorrow evening. Today, a 50% chance of afternoon rain showers, cloudy skies, otherwise breezy. Highs in the mid-50s. South winds 20 to 30 miles per hour. Wind gusts in excess of 40 miles per hour today. Again, that wind advisory goes into effect at 8 this morning, lasting until 6 p.m. this evening. Those south winds will impact unsecured objects. Tree limbs could be blown, and even power outages may be a result of these strong winds. The strongest winds are likely this morning from 9 a.m. until this afternoon around 3 p.m. The National Weather Service urges caution if you're driving, especially if you're operating a high-profile vehicle and secure outdoor objects. The counties impacted in this area include McLean, DeWitt, Piatt, Champaign, Vermilion, Macon, Moultrie, Douglas, and Shelby counties. And that's just for today. Tonight, rain likely, 1 to 2 inches of rainfall, still breezy. Temperatures tonight around 35 degrees. South winds will shift from the west after midnight at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Wind gusts tonight around 35 miles per hour. Early rain mixing with freezing rain and sleet before 2 o'clock, then snow and freezing rain in the early afternoon, and snow after 3. Snow could be heavy at times. Temperatures on Thursday will drop into the lower to mid-20s, still going to be breezy. North-northeast winds at 15 to 25 miles per hour. Wind gusts could reach 40 miles per hour. New ice around 1/10 of an inch with new snow and sleet, 1 to 3 inches in total. Again, the heavy mix of precipitation with snow of 1 to 3 inches and ice of around 1/10 of an inch possible. Portions of central and east central Illinois, mainly centered in the Interstate 72 corridor to Danville, will be the most impacted. Again, it begins Thursday morning, continuing through the afternoon. The National Weather Service says plan on slippery road conditions. Hazardous conditions will likely impact your evening commute. A change from rain to a mixture of sleet and freezing rain will occur Thursday morning to the early afternoon and will change to all snow during the mid to late afternoon hours. That according to the National Weather Service. Thursday night, once all the craziness subsides, a 40% chance of early snow. Then early clouds will clear with temperatures in the overnight around 2 degrees. A wind chill between 0 and 10 below zero. Still blustery. North-northwest winds at 15 to 20 miles per hour. Wind gusts Thursday night around 30 miles per hour. Sunny on Friday. Temperatures around 30 degrees, northwest winds at 10 to 20 miles an hour. Wind gusts could reach 30 miles per hour. Let's take a look at the weekend. Sunny on Saturday with a high of 30 degrees, and Sunday sunny. Temperatures in the upper 40s, and we look to the early part of next week. Monday, Washington's birthday, partly sunny. Temperatures in the lower 50s, and look at a week, or rather next Tuesday, temperatures in the mid-50s. Of course, still a ways to go before we get to that point, but my goodness, what a turn of events we could see as we get through the weekend in central Illinois. As they say, welcome to Illinois. If you don't like the weather today, just wait. It'll change tomorrow, and certainly holding true with this latest winter storm we are experiencing. Just a quick recap. Again, a wind advisory goes into effect at 8 this morning until 6 p.m. this evening, and then a winter storm watch goes into effect tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., lasting until 6 p.m. on Thursday evening. Across central Illinois, as we roll through this Wednesday, 45 in Bloomington, 45 in Hayworth, 47 in Leroy, 40 in Farmers City, 42 in Champaign, 43 in Monticello, 48 in Decatur, 43 in Mount Pulaski, 46 in Lincoln, 47 in Springfield, and 47 in Peoria. 43, partly cloudy, a bit breezy outside. South winds 20 to 30 miles per hour. It feels like 34 degrees outside, 71% humidity with 10 miles of visibility on this Wednesday. Get the latest in local weather at DeWittDailyNews.com.
From regional radio, DeWittDailyNews.com, and the WHOW app. This is local information making a difference.
Top of the morning, 12 minutes after the hour on this Wednesday. Coverage of news today is brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and the WHOW Morning Show streams live to Facebook Live and YouTube. Our YouTube channel is WHOW TV, and it's all brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. A Clinton grocery store owner is trying to plan as much as possible so he can keep rising food prices down at his store. Dave Jackson owns the Clinton Save-A-Lot and indicates he is using his old store space off Center Street in Clinton to store food he is purchasing while some prices remain low, and is trying to anticipate what may be short on supplies down the road.
There's just a lot of inconsistencies in production, and they can't get raw materials. They can't get workers to work. I mean, it's just we've almost encouraged people not to work, and I've never seen, I never thought I'd ever see anything like this in my life. Again, we're so fortunate. We have such a dedicated staff that we don't have a lot of those problems. But one thing we've helped control the supply chain issue with, to some degree, is I use the old store as a warehouse. Mm-hmm. And the inventory level is coming down, but I have stockpiled stuff, but I have to guess what to stockpile. How do I know what they're going to run out of? So sometimes I'm stockpiling something I don't need. I hate to use the word stockpile, but I will. Hoarding. That's exactly what I'm doing. Yeah. But I'm doing it for the store, not for myself. Some things go up and I'm sitting on the product, so I'm able to, again, control the cost, at least for the short term. But so it's been extremely valuable to have the old store for that use, and it's helped us. I've got the garage across the street from the store too that we use it. We store ice melt and paper goods and things in there that we can run over and get in water. So that's pretty handy.
According to Jackson, as much as he's trying to buffer the sharp spike in prices, he indicates there are just things that have to be passed along to the consumer.
We can only sit on these things so long, and we're passing on a lot of the cost increases. We have to. I mean, there's just when something is costing 80 cents and we sell it for 99, and that cost goes to $1.05, I can't stay 99 very long. I can for a little while, but then I had an item in dairy go from 90 cents to $1.05. We were 99. Now it's $1.24 a month later. Mm-hmm. I'm still sitting at 99. Mm-hmm. Can't do that forever.
Right.
And I'm going to have to raise it, but it's just, I think you're going to see a lot of companies, I shouldn't say a lot, many companies are taking advantage of this. Now, you got to remember, because people have short memories, inflation was a non-event for a lot of years. Inflation has been extremely low for a long time. Yeah. So you go from no inflation almost for 10 years to companies saying, okay, the gates are open, the floodgates are open. Here's our opportunity to blame it on whatever and jack up the costs on items. Mm-hmm. And they're doing it for reasons that they can't control, but I think there's some companies taking advantage of this also. And there's nothing I can do about it.
Jackson predicts you might see some companies begin to back off their price increases, but costs across the board are going up. While he admits he isn't an economist, he is basing his opinions and predictions off his experience.
I do think you'll see some backing off, because if company sales go down, they're going to start lowering costs and trying to, because volume is the key. So I think you'll see some tempering of this, but I don't know when. I don't look for 2022. I don't look for any changes until late fall or 2023. And I'm not an economist. I'm just telling you, I'm in the middle of this. And this has been a battle the last 4 years, quite honestly, but especially the last 2 years. nothing like I've ever seen. I would say about 4 months ago, but it has really kicked in. Everything that comes in the door is going up, from supplies to, it just doesn't matter. Our freight used to be $400 to get a truck to us from Save-A-Lot. It's now $700.
Wow.
We get 4 trucks a week. That's $1,200 a week times 52 weeks, $1,000 increase in freight.
Yeah.
It's a business. You have to protect your margins, and you have to be profitable. Profit is a very great word. It's not a bad word, because if you're not profitable, if I wasn't profitable, we would not have built a new store.
Jackson says there are some items in his store he isn't raising prices on, even though they're going up, and there are other items that he's only making pennies from selling. He adds he is going to try to be better about keeping his social media page updated on the happenings with inflation in his store. You can find the Clinton Save-A-Lot on Facebook. February is Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. It's a topic that is most often unreported, concerning for DeWitt County Dove's Jennifer Tolliday, who told regional radio on the WHOW morning show Tuesday, like domestic violence with adults, teen dating violence often starts slow and subtle.
Teen dating violence, unfortunately, is very underreported. I think the CDC reports it as 88% of it does not get reported to adults, simply because the teenagers are either afraid to tell their parents because they're afraid their well-meaning parents are going to step in and take over, and the teenagers feel like they can control the situation or take care of it better, or they're ashamed and don't want the adults to know. Also, a lot of them unfortunately see it as normal relationship drama. They don't even recognize that they are being mentally or emotionally abused. There is a lot of verbal, mental, and emotional abuse. Is just like with adults, that's usually how it starts off. So it starts off real subtle and controlling, and then they gradually escalate into physical abuse. It never starts off with, hey, I like you, you want to go out, and punch you straight in the face.
Right.
It's a gradual progression, which that is why it's always so hard for victims of abuse to get away, is because the abuser has been in their head saying things, breaking them down, breaking their will down, their strength down, even the way they see themselves, their own faith in themselves, to the point they either see themselves as stupid and nobody wants them, or they're ugly, or they can't do anything right, to where they eventually just think they screw everything up and don't leave because they feel like there's no options or there's nothing better out there.
With social media being such a large part of the social life of a 2022 teenager, Tolliday says an abuser will get its victims to give them information for their social media accounts and keep track of everything they do.
They control their social media. They watch them constantly. I know Facebook isn't what the cool young people do now. It's the old people thing. But like the TikTok and the Instagram or whatever else they're on, the abuser makes them give them their passwords and will log onto their stuff to watch it. They have to turn over their phones so their abusers can see everything, all their conversations. Unfortunately, there's apps where they can track what's being texted back and forth in real time, so they know everything being said to their victim. They still keep them kind of like on a short leash. So if I call you or text you, you better answer right now. I don't care if you're having dinner with your parents, you jump up and answer the phone. They start cutting them away from their friends and their social groups, which, as you know, teenagers and kids, that's their lifeline. So you start getting them away from that. You're manipulating all their time. You have, like, if parents work second or third shift, they aren't home with their young adults. So the abuser could either be over there, or they're standing outside, or they got neighbors watching for them. So it's still, unfortunately, very easy to control teenagers, just in different ways.
Tolliday admits it can be difficult to spot the signs of a teen in an abusive relationship, but she says there are things to keep an eye out for. If a person's interests suddenly change or certain behaviors begin to shift, those can be signs of someone potentially in an abusive relationship.
That's kind of iffy. It's kind of like adults. You have to know the people and just kind of recognize when things just are off. So, like, typical signs of abuse are like they're changing the way they dress. They're kind of shutting themselves down more. So, like, let's say they're in groups, like choir or acting or whatever they're into, they start cutting themselves off from that and stepping back, and the abuser is with them all the time. So like, we couldn't just be walking down the hallway and, like, let's say me and you walk down the hallway and you're used to saying hi to me. Well, if my abuser's standing right there, they're going to be like, well, you can't talk to him. Are you flirting with him? What's going on? So then eventually they won't even make eye contact with you walking down the hall. And so they start cutting them back like that. They become more anxious and depressed. They won't return calls or texts. Like I said, they start cutting out of social groups. They will start sometimes even acting out aggressively themselves, like just snapping short fuse all the time. Things like that, telling you to mind your business. Unfortunately, they start getting real secretive.
Talladega also mentions an individual will say sorry for very small, insignificant things and apologize a lot if they're in an abusive relationship. She says victims will often beat themselves up over those small mistakes. If you or someone you know is in an abusive relationship, you can contact Dove at 217-935-6619, or their 24/7 hotline is 217-935-6072. It is 22 minutes after the hour here on this Wednesday morning. We start the day under partly cloudy skies, breezy and mild. Temperatures right now at 43 degrees. It feels like 34 outside. South winds at 20 to 25 miles per hour. Again, a wind advisory in effect from 8 a.m. this morning until 6 p.m. this evening, as that wind advisory will impact McLean, DeWitt, Piatt, Champaign, Vermilion, Macon, Moultrie, Douglas, and Shelby counties. Wind gusts could blow around unsecured objects, tree limbs could be blown down, and a few power outages may even result from today's winds. The strongest winds are most likely between 9 a.m. this morning and 3 p.m. this afternoon. The National Weather Service urges caution if you're driving, especially operating a high-profile vehicle, and secure those outdoor objects. Then, tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., a winter storm watch goes into effect, and that will impact most of central Illinois. Heavy mixed precipitation is possible. Snow accumulation of 1 to 3 inches with ice of up to 1/10 of an inch, and wind gusts tomorrow as high as 35 miles per hour. This is for east and east central Illinois, mainly centered near the Interstate 72 corridor to Danville. Things will begin tomorrow morning, continuing through the afternoon. The National Weather Service says plan on slippery road conditions. Hazardous conditions will likely impact the evening commute. So, again, be aware of that. A change from rain to a mixture of sleet and freezing rain will occur Thursday morning to the early afternoon, and will change to all snow in the mid to late afternoon hours. So, keep it here to Regional Radio for the latest on this forecast for any potential closures and cancellations resulting from this storm that's set to impact central Illinois tomorrow. Plenty more to get to on the WHOW morning show coming your way here this morning.
New trucks and SUVs are coming here at Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton. This is Scott Baum. Yes, we have new inventory arriving, and you can see what will arrive right on our website. Just click on the pre-order and reserve tab. From there, you'll find vehicles in transit and vehicles in production. Or just call our sales staff and we'll help. Find Silverados, Equinoxes, Blazers, including Tahoes and Suburbans, as well as our complete Buick line of SUVs. BaumChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
It is 24 minutes after the hour here on this Wednesday morning. Again, I'm Seth Lawrence with you folks today for this expanded local newscast. Coverage of news is brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and the WHOW Morning Show streams live to Facebook Live and YouTube, and it's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. Governor J.B. Pritzker says he's up for getting rid of the mask mandates in schools, but wants to be cautious in the way the decision is made. The governor says masking in schools is a key to keeping kids in classrooms where they learn best.
Making sure that we're carefully removing masks and carefully removing mitigations from schools. That's what we're all about, because we want to make sure we don't see mass outbreaks across the state, either among kids or among their teachers and staff at schools, because that also can close a school. So we're just being careful.
The mask mandate for students can be temporarily suspended after a decision by a Sangamon County judge, but not all schools in the state have lifted the requirements. Legal betting on this year's Super Bowl was heavy in the 5 states that had reported results as of Tuesday. Nevada saw nearly $180 million come in bets. New Jersey saw nearly $144 million, while Illinois saw just $60.5 million. Mississippi saw nearly $6.5 million, and Montana only 700,000. With more states approving legal sports betting this year's Super Bowl was sure to break records. The American Gaming Association predicted last week $7.6 billion would be wagered on the NFL championship game between the LA Rams and the Cincinnati Bengals, although that total also included bets made with illegal bookmakers. New York has soared to the number 1 spot in the nation in terms of amounts bet on sports, taking in nearly $2 billion worth of bets in the first month. It will report the amount of Super Bowl bets its sportsbook took in on the Super Bowl. Friday, the Rams beat the Bengals 23-20, but did not cover the 4.5-point spread, meaning those that backed the underdog Bengals and took the points were winners. Nevada's total smashed its own record by more than $21 million. Its sports books kept $15.4 million of that as total revenue, an increase of 22.6% over last year. New Jersey sports books kept $7.8 million after winning bets and other expenses were paid out, down from the $11.3 million they kept from last year's Super Bowl. Illinois took $15 million more in Super Bowl bets than it did for last year's Super Bowl. Its casinos and sports books kept $9.5 million as revenue, up from $7.6 million a year earlier. Montana's total amount bet was up 41% over last year's total. It kept $267,000 as revenue. Mississippi has taken sports bets since 2018, but it's only at in-person sites and does not offer mobile betting, which accounts for over 80% of the U.S. sports betting market. GeoComply Solutions, whose location technology is used by virtually the entire legal sports betting industry in America to verify customers are where they say they are before making a bet, reported processing more than 80 million geolocation transactions this past weekend, more than twice the amount recorded for the 2021 Super Bowl. It is 28 minutes after the hour here on this Wednesday morning. Coverage of news today brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters. And the morning show streams live to Facebook and YouTube. That coverage brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. Quickly, a rundown of the crazy weather coming our way here this week. We've got a wind advisory in effect from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. today. The National Weather Service says the strongest winds will likely be between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. with south winds at 20 to 25 miles an hour today, wind gusts near 45 miles per hour, and a winter storm watch goes into effect at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning until 6 p.m. tomorrow night. Heavy mixed precipitation is possible. Total snow of 1 to 3 inches and ice of around 1/10 of an inch. And again, a blustery day coming your way in central Illinois. 29 minutes after the hour, again, coverage of news brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters. As we come up on 7:30, stay with us for SRN News, SRN Sports, and local sports, all on the way.